So to begin with, we are going to log into the app and you will see a demo environment that I'm going to show you. And yours will look similar, but your database will be called Accounting CRM. And a very important link to note in your homepage here is the Get Started link. And if you are brand new to us and you've not yet uploaded any clients, this link is really a great place to start to understand how to get started in the app. If you click there, it's going to explain everything from adding your accountants to preparing a spreadsheet that we've created to help you upload your clients in a bulk fashion. And then just some navigation tips, a couple of screenshots here. You will see the Excel template you can simply download from this link. There is a video that you can watch as well to help you complete that, and a couple more information over there. Okay. So very important is to do the Get Started link, because Data Grows was designed to be an automated task scheduling practice management system. So we are very geared towards taking away the manual process of managing your clients, and then tracking those deadlines. So all of the tasks that you can schedule in Data Grows either have a custom due date that you can select for your clients, or are directly linked to the deadlines that SARS would prescribe, or other institutions like SIPC, like the Labour Department. So you will never miss a deadline if you switch the service on in Data Grows, and we will schedule that for you. We do take into account weekends and public holidays, again, so that you are not scheduled with a due date while someone is having a weekend. And so we take that into account as well for you. Okay, so once you have invited your users following the Get Started link, you will be able to access that under the Accountant table in the Setup department. Okay, once you've invited your staff into the app, and once you have prepared the client spreadsheet, you will see in that spreadsheet, you can assign every single client can be assigned various staff members as they are responsible for the work for that client. So you can customize it quite a bit to make sure that you have, if you have multiple people working on one client, that everybody knows when their tasks are due as relevant to them. Okay, and so this client's table here has already gone through the data upload process. And the minute that you do that data upload and these records in the client table are created, all of the services that you've switched on for active clients, so where their status is active, is automatically going to schedule the very next task inside all our task tables. So the ones we automate include accounting. So you can set your frequency for accounting there, whether it be a monthly, bi-monthly, quarterly, or biannual or annual accounting client. We schedule for VAT returns according to the VAT type, VAT registration type of your client, and that directly links to the SARS due date. So if you switch on VAT, please make sure you do select the VAT type so that the correct due date will schedule. We also schedule for the SIPC annual returns based on the registration date of your client. So that is a very important field in the client upload to make sure that your SIPC annual returns are going to schedule correctly. We also schedule for financials. So if your client requires financials on an annual basis, you can schedule that, and the due date will work around the year end of your client. We have various payroll tasks, including compensation fund, return of earnings, the monthly EMP 201s, the biannual EMP 501s for both reconciliation periods, as well as the actual payroll task. And in there, you can select whether it is a monthly payroll, a weekly payroll, or a bi-monthly payroll. In other words, every 2-week wages, and those will schedule for you there. And for your smaller employers that are not registered on SARS, you can also track their U-filing submission so that you don't forget about those. As far as tax tasks are concerned, we schedule for corporate tax returns, individual income tax returns. All the provisional tax returns for all entities will be scheduled under this table. And then we also cater for turnover tax returns where your client is successfully registered for turnover tax. You can leave the income tax and provisional tax toggles off and simply switch on turnover tax, and everything for that particular client for their payments throughout the year will be handled in this one particular table. Okay, so those are our automated tasks that once you upload your clients, the very next task is going to schedule. Now, probably our most important table that we want everyone to get in a habit of using is the very first table, which is the all tasks due. What this is a live dashboard of every single staff member as well as any partner or manager that is co-assigned to that task. And it shows you for each staff member the due dates coming up or overdue. And then all of the tasks can be seen to the right of that. So as I demo, I'm going to show you some other tips and tricks within our tables. But for example, this table you can see has 125 rows and can be quite a lot of information in one go. And so if I am Mariska and I want to focus on a particular staff member to see how they are doing, I'm going to go to the 3 little dots on any column and click filter. And over here, I want to focus on where accountant contains Jane. So we get a lot of questions about how do you search our tables? How do you find something rather than just scrolling? We use a filter function and you can filter on any column in the app. Okay, so if we focus on Jane right now, I have sorted this table according to due date ascending. In other words, I want to see oldest to newest. And currently I can see here that based on this color coding, there are a couple of due dates that have been missed. If you look at the fact that we are on the 28th of June, anything before that is going to be color coded red to indicate that the task has not yet been marked as completed. By that, I mean, if we look at this very first due date that's been missed over here, we can see that Jane had a SIPC annual return on that date, and that is indicated by this 1 over here. If I click on that, it's going to take me directly to that table and automatically filter on the client, and you will see Jane as the accountant, and you can see that due date there on the 2nd of August. Now, if Jane had in fact submitted this annual return and we've invoiced the client and we are in fact happy that it was submitted on time, the only thing is that she forgot to change her status to completed. So in other words, that is how you complete a task in DataGrows and move it from its active table to its archive table. So we never delete a task that we have completed because we want to be able to see the history. And so you move a task by changing its status column from any other status to completed. And what that does is it archives the task. So there you can see it over there. If you accidentally archive any task, or you need to restart the task or redo it, you simply change in the archive table the status to anything else other than completed, and it pops it back to the current table. Okay, so you can undo an archive at any point. If we then change that status over there, and I've now archived it, you will see on Jane's dashboard that she no longer has the 2nd of August 2022 as an overdue due date. So that is a way to sort of check the check boxes and mark your tasks off as you complete them. Okay, so if I want to see what the other due dates are that are being highlighted, I need to scroll to the right, and I've locked the first column so that when I scroll right, I can still see that I'm working on Jane, and I can now go and see where all the other values are. So over here, we have a financials task that is overdue. We have 4 payroll tasks, 2 SARS tasks, and a specialized task. And so those can be navigated to as well and investigated. And over here, a great example of the use of our database is that this particular client's financials for the year end 2021 are not yet completed. Jane has marked it as unresolved queries and made a note in the note field to say that we've not received anything and the client is overseas. And I would actually prefer to see a date in that note so that when I'm reviewing this task to see why it's not yet completed, I can see that the date was made today. She's tried again to get hold of the client and they're not yet back. Okay, so that is going to help you to understand the progress of your tasks by making use of the notes field, the status column, and different progress columns that they might have. So that one, unfortunately, we cannot mark as completed today. Okay. The other thing that this dashboard is showing me is yellow tasks. Now, those tasks are anything due within the next 7 days. And so if you have nothing in red, which is all our goals, and you want to then have a very focused view, you're going to focus on the yellow tasks because that is in your immediate sight, and you can make sure that you then submit on time. And so if we have a look at those 2 lines over there, we've got an accounting task, we have a corporate tax task coming up, a payroll task, some provisional tax returns, and 3 VAT returns. So Jane's got a lot of work to do in the next 2 days, and we need to make sure that those are completed. Okay. The other indicator on this dashboard is whether or not someone is on leave and is potentially going to miss a deadline because of that leave. So I've indicated that for the 23rd of June, Jane was on leave and she would have potentially missed 4 payroll tasks and a specialized task over there. And so what you can do is either, if it is planned in advance, let Jane know that her payrolls need to please be completed before she goes on leave, because you've picked it up over here, and she can then make sure that the clients get their reports on time. However, if it is unplanned leave and an emergency comes up and Jane is unable to work, you can reassign those particular tasks to somebody else who can assist so that your client doesn't suffer because your accountant is not available. And so if we have a look at these 4 clients here, David might be our backup as far as payroll is concerned. And so we know Jane's had an emergency, she's unable to work. And so I am changing the accountant to David because our dashboard is live. And now we can see that we are not going to have any payroll tasks that are going to be missed while Jane is on leave. Okay. And so you can reassign those particular tasks just for that period, but it will not reassign the entire client to another accountant. Okay. So that is a great catch-all for any tasks that need to be completed. And we go quite ahead in advance for some of them so that you can do very good time management. A great example is the SIPC annual returns. We schedule a full year in advance so that you have enough time to invoice your clients. And to just show you a great feature of that, if this particular annual return was for the 2023 tax year, and we know that we've already completed their financials and we know what their turnover was, you can already come and edit this record. And if you save the amount that their turnover was, okay, in the annual turnover field, we have automatically created the CIPC fee structure in our back end, and it's going to give you what that fee will be. So you can go and invoice your clients ahead of time, let them know you are aware of the due date, and they can pay you that fee long before you've got to actually fork it out to CIPC. And we all know it is a very difficult fee to recover if you've already paid it in advance. So we give you that fee way in advance before you even log into CIPC, and you can go ahead and do that. If you miss a deadline for whatever reason, for example, this one was due on the 31st of May, and you enter in the details and save the record before, if you've not yet entered the turnover, we will actually calculate the additional penalty as well. And if it was your client's fault, let's say you waited 6 months for them to send what they needed and you didn't have the turnover available, you can then bill that over and above. Or you, if it was something that you guys forgot, you can then absorb that penalty. But we do give the penalty amount if you've not yet saved the turnover. So if I just change this due date to something in the past and enter the turnover over there, you'll see we give you the fee as well as the penalty that will be payable on that particular return. Okay, so great for budgeting purposes and for planning as well. Okay, so that is our all tasks due. If I wanted to focus on another accountant, I would simply click on the applied filter and change the name. And once I've done that, you can now see all of David's tasks. And furthermore, here you can see David has quite a bit coming up, but he has in general 2 partners that work on his clients. And if I'm only interested on the ones that apply to me, and I come to the partner column and click filter, it will automatically switch on the advanced filter, and you can now filter on 2 columns at the same time, which is a very unique feature to DataGrows. And that is going to give me, Mariska, a really focused view on what I need to review of David's work. And so I can easily see he's got 3 missed tasks and a couple coming up in the next week. This is our focus area. Does he need help? Am I the bottleneck because I haven't reviewed things, etc. So there's a lot of information contained right here, and it is completely live to any changes that are made to your tasks. Okay. Another thing to note is our filters are what I like to call sticky filters. If I navigate to another table to go and check something and I come back, I don't have to redo the filter. Nothing irritates me more than having to research for something that I was still busy with. And so you'll see we still have the applied filter there. And so you can simply clear it if you want to see all of the information by clicking on the X over there. And then it is going to give you your whole table with all of the clients and accountants. Okay, so that is a really great table to sort of start every day with. Another thing I want to note in all of our tables is this little information icon next to their names. If you are unsure about the function of a table, the reason for the table, or how to navigate or use the table, you can simply click on its little eye over there, and it's going to take you straight to the blog post that explains that particular table. So you don't have to try and filter through a whole big manual. You can go straight to the information for that particular table that you are struggling with. Okay. All right. If we come back to our clients table, there are a couple of features that we have added for your CIPC registered entities specifically. so around statutory documents, etc. And if you open any of those clients, you will see tabs available at the top. If you just expand the window by clicking on this arrow, you'll have a better view. And you can capture things like additional bank accounts, additional directors with all their information. And if a director is also a client of yours, in other words, you do their personal tax as well, and you've completed their information in the client table, you simply select them from the existing client dropdown, and all you need to complete in this table is their directorship type and the date they were appointed. And then their ID number, cell, email, and address, if you've added it under their client record, will pull through to this table automatically. And so you don't need to repeat yourself for records that you've already captured. Okay. I will demo the required documents setup a little bit later, but over here for this PTY, we've listed our requirements for the documents that we need to keep, and you can simply open a record there and upload your file, and you can actually see a preview, a live preview of the document right here, as well as set an expiry date. So in other words, in terms of the sort of 3-month validity of things or the 12-month validity of things, if you're thinking of a tax clearance certificate, you can set the expiry date here, and you always know when you need to request a new document or certify a new document for your client. Okay. And you can customize, oops, apologies, logged myself out there. You can customize the list in the setup, which I will show you a little bit later. So you can customize exactly what you call the documents, how many documents you need according to each entity type. Okay, so we've just given sort of a standard example, but you can name them and change them and add to them if you so choose. So you could add something like the engagement letter and other things like that. Okay. Then we have the small business tax indicator. Now, this particular field is also automatically generated for every year end that we either create a financials task or a corporate tax returns task. And here you can actually come and answer the questions, how they qualify in that tax year, whether or not they qualify for small business tax or not. And so here, you guys will know these questions. I've given you the exact wording that is on the SARS tax return as you'd be accustomed to answering those questions. And so if you hover over the headings, you'll see that full question there. And if you answer yes to all 4, and you go to the financials task for that client, you will see that it would say qualifies under the small business tax column. Unfortunately, this particular client, okay, had quite a bit of investments in the 2023 year and exceeded the 20% investment income indicator. And so they do not qualify for 2023 small business tax. Okay, and we've indicated that in the financial task to help the person that's drafting the financials to make the correct decision. You know, it's very easy in our industry to go and say, well, we applied it last year, this year should be fine. You know, we just kind of go with the flow. Whereas if you have the right information and you're still pressed for time, you can make the right decision for your client. Okay. Similarly, in the tax task under their corporate tax returns, you're going to see the same year end and the same indicator whether or not they qualify. So again, the person completing the tax return knows whether or not to go and answer yes or no to those questions. And they can simply access this to see which questions to answer to. Okay, so that is our small business tax indicator over there. You will also note that I'm easily navigating to any task table that we have, and it automatically filters on the client's record that I have open. And so you can actually access a client and see what tasks are outstanding for every single client, complete them, work on them, and make notes on them as you need to. Okay. So there is an indication of the VAT return that is due on Friday. Okay. Some other important features to note is the share register under the SIPC section. You can use what I like to call our 30-second share register, literally generate a share register and share certificates within seconds for your clients. By completing the information, we automatically generate the next certificate number if you like, or you can override it if you need to. We automatically calculate the active shareholding percentage. So if a shareholder has not ceded their shares, you will then see the recalculation of their shareholding percentage based on the number of shares that they own collectively. You can specify the number of signatures on the certificate and easily download a certificate complete with all the information that you need. You can then download that to PDF, have it signed by your client. Signed, you can come back to that exact shareholder that you've downloaded and store it under documents with its signed share certificate. So it's a great central place to keep track of your client's share register. Now, I know you are probably wondering, but we are looking into the beneficial ownership declaration and changes around that. We're making sure that we are fully compliant and able to assist you with that declaration, and should be able to roll that change out by the middle of July. And you will then be able to have all of that information in a nice report for declaration to SIPC as well. Okay, so we are working on that particular upgrade shortly. Okay, so that is the share register. And yeah, so those are sort of individual setup sections that I wanted to show you for each client. And you can then go through and create those records for easy access for any client that you might want to do that. Okay. Regarding the reports in DataGrows, we have an automated timekeeping system contained within the app to allow you, for all of the tasks that we've scheduled or all of the tasks that you create manually, to actually click on a record and push play. And what that does is automatically create the time record for the person who push play, the user, not necessarily the accountant assigned to the task. So I'm the partner for this particular task and I'm busy reviewing these management reports, for example, and I'm creating this time record. Okay. The other thing is that all of the notes fields that we have in all of our tasks, if you make a note while you are timing on that task, okay, so I've created this note and I've been timing on the record. If I click save and I stop my timer because I've completed what I was doing, all of that is logged in the time log table. And you will see here, if you have a look at the record that I've just created now at 9:30, you will see that the note that I created in that task pulls through to the time log. Very, very, very useful if you have, for example, a retainer client of 3 hours and suddenly this month took 6 hours. I want to know from my staff why that client took double the amount of time, why I've lost basically half of the revenue on that client because they've exceeded their retainer. I want to know if it is because they were struggling with something, if it's because they don't understand the process, or if it's because simply the client requested more detail that is outside of our scope and I actually need to bill them for that extra time. So the notes come through to the time log, making your billing so much quicker and easier to get through. Okay, so back to the fact that we have now created our automatic time log. if you follow our Getting Started link, you will also see a post about setting up your rates in Datagrows for all of your services. In other words, the value that you bill your services out for. It is quite a bit of setup involved, but there's a lot of information contained here in terms of how to achieve that. And what I want to show you is once you've done that, we have automated reports that give you your billing in live information. So you can push a button and at any time see what you are able to invoice for this particular month. And so the first one we're going to focus on is the billing report. We cater for fixed retainers, for ad hoc tasks, for clients that are strictly billed per hour, as well as subscriptions that you can recover. So if you pay for the Xero subscription on behalf of your clients and you need to bill them every month, we actually pull that through to your billing report so that you can see your total revenue that you are recovering. We show you the excluding VAT, the VAT amounts, as well as the total as well. And so if you're keeping an eye on your VAT savings for the month, that's also important information to have in real time. Okay. And again, this is a live report. So if I notice something, for example, if we look at a audit client, this is a very cheap audit here. You can see only 2 hours was worked and we're only billing 700 Rand. There's something wrong with that rate there. So it's telling me that I'm not actually set up my audit correctly. And so I'm not seeing the correct revenue amount that I'm expecting to see for this particular client. And so if I go and make a change to my rates or the time that was logged or whatever, so I'm trying to do my billing, I'm trying to see what's going on, and I noticed that really not enough time had been logged correctly. I have a discussion with Lizelle and she lets me know that she messed up her time log and actually worked about 10 hours on this client collectively. You can either come and add more records or simply edit the end time to that client. So this particular client, we've only got the one audit subtask there, but perhaps she worked more than she remembered to account for. And so she's gone and edited her time there. Perhaps it was yesterday from 8 a.m. and she worked really late until about 9 p.m. Okay, so you can add, if you forget to push play on a record, if you forget to time for something, you can come and add those records here. I just want to have a look, see where it's popped to. It's probably sitting over here. Yeah, okay. So you will be able to follow all of the time authorized in our self-help. But basically what I'm doing is I'm approving time that's been logged and moving it to the invoice pending table. So I want to invoice this client for their audit. We've wrapped it up now and it might be outside of our normal billing schedule, but I want to invoice them so that we can get paid and it will be done and dusted. And so I'm doing that in the time authorized table. I'm selecting the records that I'd like to have show up on that billing report. And so I've selected them over there and I'm going to click under actions, mark invoice pending. And what that does is it moves it to the invoice pending table. And there you can see Lizelle's time that she worked 13 hours in one day. And that makes more sense for me when an audit is concerned. Other reports available include how much time your staff have worked in a particular period. You can see whether or not they've logged into the app recently. There is a firm summary report that addresses your number of clients in terms of number of entity types that you have. We have a revenue and profit analysis that shows you, especially around your fixed retainers, whether or not you're still making money, and then just a very detailed time log per client that you can see all of the time that is logged, regardless of whether or not it's been invoiced yet. And so this one is a great overview if you want to see the history of a particular client, let's say from the 1st of January to today, and we want to see all of the time status, whether or not we've actually billed this client for something is very important. So if we focus on BDC, we can see we invoiced them for business valuation. There's a couple of time invoice pending over here. We have invoiced them for the financials in the previous period, etc. And so you can see by scrolling through the pages here, a breakdown of every single client and the time worked in the range that you specify. It also shows you which accountants and again, the notes that were made in those various tasks. Okay. We also have some reports that are available to all the staff. So the firm reports will only be available to your partners and super users. That is again explained in the Get Started link. But general reports available to your staff include a list of client birthdays, so you guys can keep track of all of your natural person clients and when to wish them a happy birthday. Another great overview is the VAT returns report to show you anything coming up in the next 7 days. Anything that is submitted but not yet paid will also be highlighted so that you can follow up with your client, and then anything overdue. Okay. And then you can also see that all tasks due dashboard that I showed you is also in a 30-day snapshot called your to-do list for the next 30 days. And this is going to show you per client, per accountant, apologies, the tasks that are assigned to them. And so if you just expand that report there, you'll see a similar view as the dashboard, but limited to a 30-day snapshot. Again, things within our control should be then our focus. And if you carry on to the next page, you will see a breakdown per accountant that you can actually see which clients and which tasks are coming up. You can see if notes have been made, etc. And so this is really going to help David focus on what's coming up, the deadlines that are associated, and what he needs to focus on to avoid penalties for your clients. Okay, you can download this to Excel. Here you can see the tasks due detail exactly for David and each of your staff broken down at the bottom as well. Okay, this particular Excel report also gets emailed to every single staff member on a Monday morning at 7 a.m. And so you get that email reminder of what you need to focus on for the next 30 days. And it really helps you to plan your time accordingly. I have shown you all of the sort of automation in Datagrows. We also have a couple of tables that require manual input. Or manual input. So that would be tasks that do not have a set frequency, a set reoccurrence. We cannot predict when they will be due, and you still need to be able to add them into the app to log your time, to bill your clients, etc. The first table is the firm and ad hoc tasks table. And if you click on that, you can add a record from our dropdown that includes many tasks that are either internal tasks. So sometimes we have people ask, what do we do? How do we log idle time or admin time that you wouldn't necessarily bill a client for, but you still need to fill your day? You would select from our options over here. And then you can assign the accountant, manager, and partner if you need to. You can then log your time on it, make your notes, and archive it once you are done. Okay. The next manual table we have are subsea tasks. So anything to do with the SIPC sort of transactions page, if you want to picture that in your mind, that does not include the annual return. And so here you will come and add the record when the task applies to your client. So if you have a look at the options available here, maybe a director has been employed and you need to add them onto the company docs. Perhaps it's a brand new registration. So somebody's approached you and said, please register this company for me. What I would recommend is simply create their name in your client table, their preferred name that you've tried to then get a name reservation for. Okay, you can edit that at any time should anything change, but that will allow you to actually add the task according to their name that they are hoping to register. And then you can time on the task and it will pull through to your billing report. Okay, so we're going to do this company registration for Fixtrim. I'm going to assign the staff that are responsible. Okay, and this is a very special table because what we've done is I found it incredibly difficult to remember tasks that I don't do every single day, the specific supporting documents that are required. And then I find myself going and looking at previous emails that I've sent to SIPC or previous clients' folders, and it just takes a lot of time. And if you forget to request a document from your client, you know, you sit with egg on your face and they're annoyed because the process has taken longer. And you guys will all know that we really don't make a lot of money off of these particular tasks. It's very difficult to really make profit off of these tasks. So what we've done, if you click save and edit, you will see there is a SIPC subtask at the top, and we list the required documents that you need to successfully register this client with SIPC. So in other words, I don't have to remember, I don't have to go and open an old email, try and follow an Excel spreadsheet checklist that I created and tried to save somewhere and can't remember. Or most importantly, I am now the owner of this firm and I have staff underneath me who are not yet in the process of remembering these things. Maybe it's the first time they've done this. I can actually go and assign this task to Liz, and she has the full list of required documents that she can request from her clients, and I don't need to stress that she's going to miss something. Okay, so we list all the documents there. There are a couple of templates that you can download as well, and keep track that you've requested it, that you've received it, and you can even save the documents against these records if you like. Okay, next, you will also know that once you create the transaction on SIPC's website, you have to email them those supporting documents within 10 calendar days, or they're going to kill that transaction and you have to start again. If you save the date that you created the transaction on SIPC, okay, and you click save, we will automatically calculate the due date for you by when you need to send them those supporting documents and avoid having to redo that transaction on their website. We also have a day counter that from tomorrow is going to start counting so that you can keep an eye on that number and make sure you don't hit that 10-day mark. So you can see here on this active registration, I've got 3 days left, technically 2 if we count that that's a weekend, to get my act together and email them those supporting documents and not have to start that again. So if I'm waiting for my client, I'm going to be nagging them constantly because it is such a schlep to go through that process all the time. Okay. So it's a great place to keep track of it. You're reminded of the supporting documents. So if we look at the director detail change over there, and we go to the subtask, there are the supporting documents you need to do a director change with a couple of templates that you can download as well. Okay. For SARS tasks, we have the exact same table under the tax department that allows you to add again any transaction that they require supporting documents from you as and when they arise. And so everyone that we've had to sort of deal with in the last 2 years is the update public officer task. Now, again, it was something that was very new to us in terms of a mandatory thing that we had to sort of sort out and learn and get used to. And so to give this to a junior staff member would be prize one. And so again, we've listed under the subtask the required documents with a couple of templates that you can download and easily complete. And so that way you maximize the revenue that you make out of this task because it's much quicker and easier to follow. Okay. There are over 35 tasks to choose from in this particular table. Anything from ceasing to be a resident, custom registration, disputes for various tax types, new estates, new tax applications, registering for e-filing, VAT return verifications, etc. And so there's really a lot to choose from in terms of what you would need to send to SARS and track that. Okay. Now, like the SIP-C task, we have a uploaded field. And this is going to be used for when you actually send the supporting documents to SARS. What we've done in the back end is we've loaded for all of these tasks the prescribed turnaround time that SARS has said they should respond by in working days. So particularly something like the update public officer, they reckon within 21 working days, you will have your response. And so if you save the date that you've sent them those supporting documents and you click save, we calculate the due date as their prescribed turnaround time in working days. So in other words, I can come and give them a call on the 20th of July and follow up because I've not yet received a response regarding this transaction from them. We also count our day counter in working days. And so if I know the turnaround time to be 21 working days, I'm going to keep an eye on that so that I can actually follow up after their prescribed turnaround time, because you know they're not going to help you before that. Okay. The best example for that is a VAT return verification where you're actually waiting for them to pay that refund. Now, there's nothing worse than saying to your clients, oh, I forgot to follow up. If they actually call and they go, what's happening with my VAT? You can say to them, sorry, so-and-so, we are not yet at the 21 working day mark. I cannot escalate with SARS, but on the 2nd of June, I will call them and escalate for you and update you on the progress. Okay, so it is a really, really useful table. And these due dates pull through to your all tasks due for SIP-C tasks, again, to help you keep track and not miss that 10-day mark, and for SARS tasks, so that you can actually keep track of when you should escalate follow up with SARS. Okay, so very, very important tables to make use of. They cost us a lot of money if we drop the ball here. So make sure that your team understands how to use this particular table. You will also see for certain things that have a period assigned to them, you can capture that. You can set an internal due dates for your staff to get their act together and get the supporting documents together. You can make note of a SARS appointment date if you needed one, as well as your case numbers. And things like the corporate tax returns, individual income tax, VAT returns have a verification tick box. And so if I just lock the column there, and let's say, for example, I've submitted, let's go with a closer due date here. There we go. So I've submitted this task now, and they've actually triggered a verification on e-filing. You'll see this is for Magicraft June 2022. If I click save, that switching on that verification automatically creates a SARS task for me, for that client, for that period. It assigns the person who is responsible, and I can actually come and track it here. There's nothing worse than forgetting that SARS has requested supporting documents. And so if you use our little toggles in those tasks themselves, so you'll see here for individuals as well, If I just open one, we'll see it a bit better. If we switch on that SARS verification for Andrew for Feb 2023, poor guy's only not even started the tax season yet, you will see that it creates that task for you for that period, assigns the accountants, etc. So it really, really helps you keep track of these horrible things that we've got to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and that can cost our clients a lot of money if we don't stay on top of them. Okay. All right, one more feature that I really, really want to show you, and then I'll open it up for questions, is our Microsoft 365 integration. Now, please understand, if you use a Mac, for example, you need to know what your email license is. It has nothing to do with the type of computer you use or the email application that you use. So whether it's Microsoft Office or Gmail, for example, the point is, where is your license hosted? If your license is hosted with Microsoft 365, you can integrate your emails into DataGrows. Each staff member has to do that integration in order for our automated emails to go out where they are the accountant. And you do that by clicking on the settings and clicking on Microsoft integration. And what that does, when you click allow access, you will see it takes you to the Microsoft secure login, and it will ask you which email address you want to connect. And then DataGrows will say success, you have integrated. Okay. What that allows you to do in our setup section is an emails table. So if all your staff have successfully integrated to 365, we have a couple of automated emails that use the logic in these task tables to bulk email your clients or your staff. You can see who the email will go to by checking this column. And so if we look at an internal email here, we have a reminder that will actually tell your accountants that they have EMP 201 returns coming up that have not yet been marked as paid. So in other words, follow up with your client, they're going to incur a penalty. The same with VAT returns, you can automate this. Now, you can set this email to go off automatically by simply selecting the schedule date from our options below. If you feel like you need the 13th of the month as an option, please just pop us an email. Don't get upset with us if we haven't added it as an option. Simply pop us an email and we'll create that date for you. But let's say, for example, VAT returns by the 25th. We want to make sure that everyone's aware of their VAT. Everyone's gearing up to release their payments. And so I'm just going to set the schedule there, and all my staff are constantly, every single month, going to get a little summary email of their VAT returns that need to be paid. But you can also send any email at any point by changing the action to send emails. So if you feel by the 28th, there's still far too many VAT returns that have not been marked as paid, you can actually come and override your schedule and pop that email out, and it's going to email all your staff. Okay. Our send to client emails are a little bit more special. If you open this particular one and you just expand the window there, you can see here that we have an email body. And this is just our sort of example that we've created to help you understand how you can send this email out. We have quite a long description that explains what the email will do so that you know with confidence who it's going to send. So this particular one is reminding your clients that their provisional tax return is due in the next 60 days. Now, 2 months is really a nice period of time to start looking at your provisional tax returns. I don't know about you guys, but my clients feel that tax is a horrible thing. They shouldn't have to do it. And they seem to forget, even though they pay it twice a year, they seem to forget that that needs to be done. And they expect us to manage them, to manage the amount payable, to help them budget, etc. And so this email helps sort of let your client know that you are looking at their tax. It's due within the next 60 days, and you're going to be letting them know what supporting documents you require. And so if we look at this here, we can set the email subject to whatever we like. So you can change that to whatever you want it to say, perhaps not with a spelling mistake. And then you can change your email body. The only thing that you need to realize with our email bodies that you can customize. So any of the ones that say to clients, you can customize what that email says to your client. There are certain fields that are required so that the email automatically populates the correct client's information. And those fields are contained in a square bracket. So here you can see we're saying, dear primary contact. So the person we've listed in our client records as who the email should go to. It will go to this person's email address. And now we've said, please be advised that your provisional tax return submission is due by. It's going to link to that due date that's due in 60 days. And we will be in touch regarding the supporting documents we require. You can change that to say, we are busy calculating the tax due and will advise. Okay, so you're letting them know we care about you, we see you, we're going to help you budget for your life. Okay, now, so as I said, the square brackets are very important so that it actually automatically populates. And this is going to be sent from the accountants assigned to this person's provisional tax task. And so that is why accountant name is also in square brackets. If you accidentally delete a square bracket, if you want to see what the square brackets were for this particular email, just right click in the body and you will see the ones that are available, and wherever your cursor was, you can simply re-add them. Okay, so if you accidentally change them, you can just re-add them into the body of the email so that it actually sends correctly to your clients. Okay. So you can customize the text for those, and we explain what their purpose is, etc. We are also busy developing a test run so that you can actually say, send a test example to my email address so that you can see how your email is going to come out. So that you're not emailing your clients a bunch of rubbish that is going to confuse or upset them. And so we're working on bringing that into this table so that you can actually see how it works. If you're in the process of onboarding your clients, now would be the time to, in your client table, go and put your email address in a couple of records over here, and you can play around with those emails and have them sent to you so that you're comfortable with how they look, how you use them. By the time you then import your full client list with their email addresses, you can confidently go and schedule those emails to run without having to manually intervene the whole time. Under resources, you're going to find a lot of information here. So I've mumbled on for an hour, but really I could talk for 10 hours. All our information is contained under resources. You will see the demo that we've done this morning will be uploaded over here. All past demos can be accessed, and you can come and click on that link there. We have a training guide, a bunch of videos on some of the things that I explained that can be a little bit more complex. We always let you know every single month any changes that we've made to the app so that you're never in the dark of any new features or crucial changes. And then we have the manual. Now, Lynn worked really hard to create a very nice interactive electronic manual that doesn't have a PDF of 300 pages that you have to try and read through. But each table, each section, each feature of the app is broken down into its details, self-help videos, a whole bunch of stuff that you can work through. And they are again contained if you go to the little eye of each table, you will get the same information. Any other questions? Okay, if you think of anything, sometimes it's a bit of a info overload and then you realize, oh, you should have asked this question. Please, at any time, there is a help icon at the bottom left of your navigation. If you click on that, you can send an email directly to our amazing support team. We are here to help you guys. We're here to hear from you guys. So feature suggestions really, really do matter to us. You'll see that in that upgrade notification that you get every month. It's awesome to see when we've actually managed to implement your suggestion. And that is another reason why we notify you of those changes. And so simply complete your email and your question or suggestion over there and click send. Otherwise, you can email us direct over there or phone or WhatsApp this number and we will assist. Thank you all very much for joining us and good luck with your deadlines for the rest of the week. And we definitely hope to hear from you soon with any questions or suggestions that you might have.